Hello, my name is Seth Frey, and I'm presenting the paper Governing Online Goods, written with a wonderful team of friends, colleagues, and students out of UC Davis, the communication department there. Well, this is a data science project. I'm interested in gaining empirical, quantitative insights into the governance style and patterns across online domains. So our hope ultimately is to appreciate the internet as a laboratory for governance experimentation and recognize that everyday people are gaining experience in governance practice and governance design by engaging with online communities. So by better understanding the choices they make, we can better support a healthy ecosystem of online communities that are capable of empowering people and giving them practical political and skills. So our questions are: to what extent do online communities rely on formal rather than informal governance? What kinds of rules, when communities write rules, do they rely upon? And what are the cross-platform similarities when we find a pattern? When we find a pattern, is it specific to a single platform, or is it typical of online communities in general? Of course, we can't answer that conclusively, but we are able to, in this paper, compare across three quite different online community platforms. Our research questions most specifically: what's the relationship between the community's maturity and its formalization? Maturity is age or size or success, defined domain specifically. Basically, they're all very highly correlated, so we just lump them into one construct, what we call maturity. And institutional formalization, that's just a fancy word for the number of written rules. Now, how general is that relationship between formalization and maturity? And then getting past rule count into rule style and rule type, the same questions. What styles do we see, and how much cross-domain consistency is there in styles expressed? For our data, we collected from a large number of communities, a large number of rules from 3 different platforms: the multiplayer role-playing game World of Warcraft, the sandbox self-hosted video game Minecraft, and the discussion platform Reddit. And from each of these, we were able to scrape written rules and some combination of size, age, and success, our maturity construct. By rules, we mean everything from please vote every day to please be considerate of everyone. You really see the range of communities represented and the range of kind of rule, let's say, seriousness in these three cases from Reddit, of the frivolous shower thoughts, the very kind of important, relevant, and sensitive communities such as Teens Support Teens. And this is all a microcosm of collective action problems, not just all over the internet, but all over the world. The common pool resource management and providing a public good are susceptible to collective action problems, and better understanding how everyday people approach those problems can give us insight into governance design questions that are very important for people online and off. Unfortunately, because of the importance of these questions and their universality, there's quite a bit of scholarship in the social sciences providing frameworks for understanding governance style and governance approaches, particularly the work around the community of Eleanor Ostrom and the large community of scholars who worked with her for several decades. And we see the Tragedy of the Commons in action in this screen capture of Minecraft community. Trees go down, buildings go up. Who replants the trees? Who ensures that trees are harvested at a sustainable rate? This is one example of the kind of collective action problem that online communities must tackle in order to be successful. From the institutional analysis and development framework of the Ostrom community, we're able to pull out 2 taxonomies for rule type. this idea that there are different kinds of rules. Um, the strategy norm requirement taxonomy, distinguishes between here's behavior you should do, please be considerate of others, versus behavior you must do or else. If you use hacked clients, you'll be banned. And then in the case of regulatory constitutive taxonomy, we distinguish between rules that regulate behavior of individual agents versus rules that define new concepts or state general aims or values or create new institutional structures into existence. A classifier, this is a little, I'm not going to get too much into this, but we hand coded for rules for those qualities and then trained a classifier. Our approach was SVM on TF-IDF features, following the procedure of Fiesler et al., who also analyzed Reddit rules, but with a slightly different taxonomy. Our results are as follows. So this is just a histogram representing how many rules communities tend to have, and what you find is most have a relatively small number, but you get a slightly fat tail. If you look at the x-axis, you'll see that within platform there's great variation, where with an individual WoW community having very large numbers of rules. You see very clearly here the maturity formalization relationship, that the more mature a community is, whether in size or success, the greater extent of formalization it has, the more rules you see per community. We only had that data for 2 platforms. There's a pattern over time. It's statistically significant, although not visually very strong. There's a pattern by success, where more successful communities have more rules. And here we have quite a few results. First, you'll see, I just want you to kind of squint and look at the colors, and you'll see there's a lot of consistency across platforms in what those circle charts look like. That's one thing. Next thing you'll see is there's on the bottom row, there's much more focus on regulatory than constitutive rules, indicating a real focus on user behavior across platforms. And on the top row, you see a lot more of this blue color than the other colors, indicating a lot more reliance on norms than requirements or strategies, which is a third construct I didn't define. Our takeaway from this is communities use rules more to softly set behavioral expectations than to strictly engineer behavioral incentives. That's how we interpret that. This wasn't in the paper, but we did try to look into longitudinal results, and we found no change in governance style over time. So our conclusions: online communities use rules more to softly set behavioral expectations than to strictly engineer incentives. There's great cross-platform consistency in governance style, and more institutional formalization with more community maturity. Overall, this work provides tools for computational analysis of written policy texts. We apply new institutional frameworks to questions of online community governance. We provide very large N comparisons across platforms for increasingly general claims. And we provide great descriptives and exploratory results for a lot of the constructs that we measured. This work wouldn't have been possible without help from my colleagues doing a large comparative analysis of open source projects in the Apache Software Foundation, colleagues developing computational policy analysis tools, and colleagues interested in online community governance design. And with that, we hope you enjoy the paper. Thank you very much.